Well then, everyone, we are back in the computer room. Welcome. So the music that was playing right now is maybe, just maybe, a small teaser to what I may do later. The two songs that I just played were used in one of my favorite games of all time. And I have been contemplating on whether or not I'm going to stream that game. I am very unsure because the time schedule is yes, Bix. The time schedule for playing that game is pretty long. Sure, it's not as long as, say, Final Fantasy and stuff like that. I mean, the game can go pretty quick to play through if you just blast through it, but that's one of the games I don't ever want to rush through because it's just good. But at the same time, there are so many other games I also want to play. So the game in question was Life is Strange. I have contemplated playing it. And let's get the camera up again. And I just recently, I admit, found a comic just during Christmas that was apparently been published, and I found myself really enjoying it. I did 9 in like during summer. So yeah, like this, but I do want to play Life is Strange at some point because the game is amazing. So, but now we have some Ace Attorney to go through. So to cap up, we have a guilty client, but we still have to defend this guy. Hello, this is Phoenix, Wright. You don't look so well, dude. You're gonna prove me not guilty today, right? If you please, Mr. Lawyer. Remember, it's not just me. Your precious friend's life is riding on today's verdict, too. Ugh. Now listen up, you better get Engarde a guilty sentence, okay? If you get that creepy slime bug level and not guilty, I'll never forgive you, ever! Maya. Phoenix. Mia! Maya, how's Maya? I don't know. You don't know? She hasn't tried to channel me since yesterday. Mia. What? What am I supposed to do? Well, like I said, for a lawyer, the worst of the times is when you have to force your biggest smiles. But you can't give up. There's still some hope left. Stop it, please. There's nothing left. Not here. Not anywhere. It's that accursed Engarde again. Will you leave me alone? Look, don't call me anymore. I mean it. You're really mean, pal. Gumshoe. I'm really sorry. Where are you? They let me join the investigation team, and we're chasing after the killer, pal. Then you have some sort of lead? Sorry, but right now we have 0 leads on the guy. But we're not going to give up. Gumshoe. Until the trial is over, until the verdict is handed down, we're going to do everything we can and find the killer. If we can get Maya out, then you can get Engarde the guilty verdict he deserves, pal. That's true. I could do that if they find Maya first. Oh, come on, that sucks, Pix. You got that? So you have to do whatever it takes to make the trial last longer. Have to make the trial last longer? If you go at Mr. Edgeworth with everything you've got, then you two can drag it out. Oh, now I get it. I believe in you, pal. You and Mr. Edgeworth can do it. So, believe in us. We're going to give it all we got, just like you. Got it. Thanks, Gumshoe. Hey, Phoenix. You understand now, don't you? You have to have something money will never be able to buy. Friendship. It's the strongest weapon in the world, and you have have it in abundance. Yeah, it's very cheesy. Yeah. Looks like we're coming to the end. I have to make the trial last as long as I can. Gumshoe will come through, I know it. I have a whole bottle of water, and I may need to steal another bottle of water later. Because I'm going to need it to voice act all the people in this one. Court is now in session for the trial of Matt Engarde. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a time, Your Honor. Now, as I recall, we concluded yesterday's session with a big mystery on our hands. The mystery being exactly what Miss Adrian Andrews' role in this murder. That is to say, is she really connected to the crime itself? Mr. Edgeworth, if you would please inform the court of today's proceedings. Adrian Andrews. She forged evidence that threw suspicion onto Mr. Engarde, and then proceeded to escape the crime scene by wearing a nickel samurai costume. The guilt of these actions are those from which she cannot escape. So you say she is guilty after all? I am not finished, Your Honor. Miss Andrews has nothing to do with committing the actual murder. I would like to direct the court's attention to this card. What is that? It looks like a shell. This is the calling card of a certain assassin. Assassin, you say? Yes, Joan Corrida was killed by a professional assassin. And the person who hired the assassin, his client, so to speak, is Matt Engarde. What a surprising turn of events. I would think it's become commonplace by now, Your Honor. I know what's going on this time. So, I know that everything Edward has said is true. But we still have to hold out as long as we can. At least until Maya's safe and sound. I wonder how the trial will turn out today. Now then, please call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution calls the defendant's mentor, Mr. Will Powers, to the stand. Poor Powers. Now then, witness, your name and occupation, please. Okay. Will Powers. I'm a poor underpaid action star. And what is your relation to the defendant? Well, that's, I guess I'm sort of a lousy mentor to him in a way. Yeah. Mr. Powers, please. You don't need to put yourself down so much. Oh, sorry. Well, I'm just sort of a nothing sort of guy. On the night of the murder, you revisited the defendant's room. Is that correct? Yes. I didn't know that. But you know, I didn't actually get to see Matt when I went. All you need to do is answer what you're asked. Now then, I would like you to please testify about when you went to Mr. Engarde's room. Okay, sure. After an award ceremony, I went by myself to Matt's room. Matt was standing there in front of his room, still in his nickel samurai costume. He was talking to someone. At first I thought it was the bellboy, I watched the two of them for a while, but then I gave up and went back. I had guests with me that night, and I couldn't make them wait for me. Nothing sounds out of place in Mr. Power's testimony. And talking with a bellboy is no big deal. No one assumes that the person Mr. Engarde was speaking with was an ordinary. If one assumes that the person Mr. Engarde was speaking to was an ordinary bellboy, what are you implying? Well, Mr. Wright, let's have your cross-examination, shall we? Looks like we're in another sticky situation. Huh? A trap. Can't you spell it, Phoenix? But for us to find out more, we're going to have to charge in head first, right? The defendant's room? Why did you go there? Well, I'm his mentor, like a big brother of sorts, and I wanted to say congrats. What's wrong? Why did you stop? Mr. Wright! What is it? You're gonna try and trick me into a corner, aren't you? Huh? I know I'm just a poor underpaid action star, but I'm not the killer. No one said you were, Mr. Powers. No, please, don't trick me. Every time you do your lawyer thing, the witness suddenly turns out to be the bad guy. Every time? Witness, I will personally talk to the defense at a later time. So for now, please kindly cooperate and continue with your testimony. Sorry. So you went to the defendant's room, and then? Yeah, Phoenix does have a pattern. Hey, wait a minute. How did... and when and how did I suddenly turn into the bad guy here? Are you sure that was Matt Engarde? Yeah, I'm sure. He wasn't wearing the nickel samurai mask then. If that's the case, then he can't really be mistaken. And what was the defendant doing, standing in front of his own room? At first? What do you mean by that? Well, he was in a bellboyish uniform and he had a bottle of juice on a tray. Sounds like an ordinary bellboy to me. Yeah, but I didn't think he was a normal bellboy. And why was that? Why did I think that, Mr. Wright? How am I supposed to know? Sorry, but I can't remember right now. Sorry. I guess I'm going to have to wait patiently on this one. You saw the two of them? The bellboy and the defendant together, right? Yeah, the bellboy just wanted to say congrats. Now, while you were watching the two of them, did you notice anything strange? You know, I did feel something weird. I think it was because Matt, well, he gave the bellboy a tip. A tip? But that's a perfectly normal thing to do. So, how long did you watch the two of them? No more than a minute or two, I think. So, who are these guests you were talking about? You guys, of course. You and Maya and Little Pearl. I thought it would be really rude since I invited you guys if I disappeared on you. So I went back to my seat pretty soon after seeing Matt in the hallway. This is like squeezing water from a stone. It's probably pointless to press further. Do you remember this incident? Did Mr. Powers leave his seat that night? I don't remember that happening at all. Maya was making such a racket in her hyperstate. I ended up focusing on her. I see. In any case, from his story, it probably wasn't gone for very long. So... Where's Lotta in all of this? Ah, right, thanks. Gotta take my vitamin D. Because my skin color and the Scandinavian winter is not very helpful when it comes to vitamin D.
I could crack a very bad pun dish.
Please don't. I think Farnell did it for you.
I don't know. Let me see.
But let's not get into that. Yeah, what is sun, right? Let's see.
Yeah, well, the bad pun was because of us being a jury couple, we don't get enough D, so we need to.
I don't have a newspaper like next to me right now to bap you because I just cleaned my desk. Yes, she did, but I think you didn't get it. But I'm not going to reiterate it because it's not worth listening to. Let's see. Oh, so now she's coming to Twitch herself to do it, right? To post it herself. Lotto is in all of this. So where is Lotta? Because Lotta is supposed to be here somewhere. Guess with you, but that was us. Let's see. When the manager. She just had to. She just had to. Yeah, we don't have to summon mine after that. Can I press this one again for some other results? There we go. You know, I did feel something weird. Ah, there we go. Could it be that you felt something strange about the tip-giving incident itself? Ah, yeah, that's it. You really know your job. Mr. Edgeworth. Yes, Your Honor. This bellboy, he wasn't an ordinary one, was he? Huh. Perhaps we should let the witness tell us. Very well. Mr. Powers, please amend your testimony. You mean about a bellboy, right? So, he gave the bellboy a tip. What's so strange about that? Oh, well, you see, Matt's not a poor penny pincher like me. I was trying to figure out how much it was because the tip really shocked me. How much it was? But that's when something even more surprising happened. Well, the bellboy was putting a tip he got into his pocket. And that's when I got my first good look at the guy's face. I was really shocked. I'm afraid I don't follow at all. It sounds like Mr. Powers was surprised twice by this event. I wonder which of his shocking moments I should ask about first. So let's talk about what would be so shocking about the bellboy's face, Mr. Powers? Well, he wasn't exactly a boy, more like an old Gramps. Ahem! I hope you know that discrimination towards old men is a no-no in my court. No. That's not what I meant at all. In the smack middle of this guy's face, there was a line of stitches. A line of stitches? Yeah. And it went straight from the tip-top of his head to the bottom of his chin. Almost like if that thread snapped, all the stuff in his head would come spilling out. Ah! He was there, at Engarde's house. He was a butler. What is it, Mr. Wright? Nothing, Your Honor. So that means Engarde was talking with the killer then. If that fact were to be exposed, Engarde would be declared guilty in a blink. Phoenix, you have to play dumb here. Pretend you don't know anything. Yes, Chief. You sure you don't have anything you would like to say, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you say, Your Honor? Nothing, Mr. Wright, nothing. We were just going around in circles. Now then, Mr. Powers, please continue with your testimony. I'm gonna press on the other one. I would like to get some red herrings going. If we can actually get a red herring out of the tip. The defendant's a huge star. He can afford to give a generous tip, don't you agree? Sure. But giving him that much was maybe a little too much, I think. A little too much? Would you please clarify for the court about how much you would say the defendant gave the bellboy? Honestly, I don't know. I can't even begin to guess. And why is that? Because they gave the bellboy a really fat roll of cash. A roll of cash? Oh, well, how interesting. That certainly was a very generous tip, wasn't it? A fat roll of cash. That is hardly what can be called a tip, Your Honor. The judge is beginning to look awfully suspicious of us. Let's see, how did this go? The defendant is a superstar. That kind of tip is typical fare for people like him. Are you saying that all superstars are super spenders? If I could receive a large rolls of cash by simply bringing people things on trays, then why on earth would I stand here around here prosecuting? He's got a point. I don't even get paid, let alone rolls of cash for all my hard work. So supposing that roll of cash was not a tip, then what was it? Payment, Your Honor. Payment? Isn't it obvious? For the murder of Mr. John Corrida. Then the bellboy the witness saw. Yes, he was the assassin. Oh, hold your horses now, Mr. Edgeworth. You don't have any proof of this, do you? Have I ever been unprepared to support my claims, Your Honor? I have here the card Shelley the Killer left at the scene of the crime. Shelley the Killer is a person the police special investigations team has been chasing for ages. I am certain that the person the witness saw was this very assassin, Shelley the Killer. Really? What is wrong, Mr. Powers? No, nothing. Something just clicked in my head and I think I just figured something out. Oh? Actually, I saw that bellboy again later that night. What? Mr. Powers, please testify. Tell us what you saw. Yes sir, right away. Yeah, Edgeworth's car is dope. Is that how that word is used? Probably. This time, I was in the hallway because I had to go to the bathroom. And that's when that bellboy came out, I saw earlier, came out of the room. Of course, when I say room, I mean John Corrida's room. Now that I think about it, that bellboy did seem kinda out of place. Yeah, so I had to be the assassin, I'm sure of it. I mean, thank you very much, that is all we need for now. Huh? But I'm not done, there's still more. Let us first establish that the bellboy was truly Mr. the Killer, then we shall see. So the bellboy came out of the victim's room. And if that bellboy really was the assassin, then I think the answer is fairly obvious. That will be correct, Your Honor. Well, Mr. Wright, I believe it's your turn to entertain and make us laugh. This is no laughing matter. And what time was it? Well, I don't remember. The awards ceremony ended around 8 PM, right? And when I went to Matt's room pretty soon after that, and then I came back. And then I went to the bathroom. So I guess maybe it was around 10 PM. When was the time of death again? Do we have the autopsy report? There it is. Yeah, so we can actually use this one. Time of death was after that. So, you're not one with details, are you, Mr. Powers? That's weird. I've never heard of that. Unless there's some volume knob on the side that you can adjust with, that you somehow accidentally managed to tweak. Sorry, I thought that maybe I could catch Matt's and say my congrats. I don't know then. Are you sure it was the same bellboy? Yeah. And how can you tell? The bellboy wears the same uniforms after all. But you see, well, he had those stitches in his face. So I was sure it was the same guy that was talking with Matt. Maybe I should change the way how the Power speaks because it kind of sounds like Felix the way I voice act him. So, which room did the bellboy come out of? The victim's room, huh? Yeah, the one with all the really pretty flowers and teddy bears. That's John's room's alright. Words can't describe how screwed I am. Huh. Let's continue with the testimony, shall we? So what exactly was so out of place about him? Right. Why didn't Spirit grin? Maybe because I had no idea what damaging thing he's going to say next? Well, the bellboy was empty-handed. Empty-handed? Bellboy was one of those room service people, right? But he wasn't pushing a cart and he wasn't holding a tray either. You'd call it a little strange too, wouldn't you? I agree that it's a bit strange, Mr. Powers. But is it really that unusual for a bellboy to be empty-handed? I mean, the tray is here. What should I do? Should I let Mr. Powers' testimony slide, or let's pull a fast one and get a penalty? There's nothing strange or unusual about an empty-handed bellboy. But there really, really is. There really, really isn't.